Hi everyone, thanks for dropping in on our final program, our final TNT for this week. It's Friday, the 15th of September. Today we're going to be breaking up the program into two main halves. The first half, sort of people behaving badly, including a senator who is apparently part of one of the coalition parties, and some other suspects in quite a disturbing story. In the second half, just some other general news. But let's get started with this story, and it's reported by nationthailand.com, a politician among 5 people suspected of sex with an underage prostitute. And Saraburi police are seeking arrest warrants from the court for 5 individuals they believe have been customers of a 15-year-old girl forced into prostitution at a resort in Saraburi province. Saraburi, about an hour drive north of Bangkok. I'm sure a lot of Thais scrambling to their computers trying to find out who their elected politicians are in that area. And the story goes on to say that 2 of the 5 suspects have already been questioned. One is a hospital staff member, another is a construction contractor. 3 other suspects are still on the run. A politician from a party in the government coalition, the former director of the Saraburi Office of Buddhism, and a sales officer in a private company. And police say there's also a possible 6th suspect. And it all started when a complaint was received from a 37-year-old man who claimed that his Burmese wife forced their 15-year-old daughter to provide sex services to guests at a resort in the province. And the girl reportedly said she was forced into prostitution in 2022, and that her mother also procured other girls and women for guests at the resort. And the Myanmar woman was arrested earlier this week and reportedly admitted to the crimes. She was charged with illegal entry, arranging prostitution of persons under 15 years old, and human trafficking. We're checking how other media are reporting this. We go to bangkokpost.com. Ex-senator faces child sex charges, and a former senator has been charged with buying sex from a minor. And the former senators identified only as Mr. Boonsong, 57, who met investigators at the Ban Mo police station on Wednesday night to acknowledge the charge and was granted bail. And the Bangkok Post reports that he's a well-known politician representing a major coalition party and was said to be one of 6 clients who bought sex from a 15-year-old girl at a resort where her mother worked in the Ban Mo district. A very disturbing story. I'm pretty sure that ex-senator will be named in the next few days, and obviously there's a lot more to go in that investigation. Heading to Samui now, and the Pattaya reports a Grab driver was seriously injured after being shot by a minivan driver at Samui Airport. That seems to be happening so often these days, where the traditional taxis who have been providing transport for, airports, for example, are being challenged by these ride-hailing apps. And the traditional taxis don't like it. And the Bolput police told the Phuket Express is a sister publication of the Pattaya News, that they were notified of the incident on Wednesday at a taxi parking area. Witnesses told relevant police that the injured man, who'd already been taken to hospital, was identified only as Mr. Boy, who was 30. 3 bullet cartridges were found at the scene. The suspect, initially identified only as Mr. Pow, 50, fled the scene. Witnesses told Bolput police that Mr. Pow is a minivan taxi driver and had engaged in a verbal altercation with Mr. Boy, who's a Grab mobile app driver. Pow had asked Mr. Boy to pick up passengers outside the airport area instead of inside the airport. The argument took place in front of many witnesses at the busy airport. So these traditional taxi and minivan drivers are telling the ride-hailing app passengers, you go outside the airport if you want to catch one of those. Mr. Boy allegedly became furious by Mr. Pow's request, losing his temper, and assaulted Mr. Pow with his hand. Mr. Pow became enraged, took a gun from his minivan and shot at Mr. Boy, who tried to run away but failed. And the story goes on to say that the incident was clearly captured by witnesses and CCTV. We've had a look at that particular CCTV footage, and like the PattayaNews.com, we've declined to publish it. And police are currently hunting for Mr. Pow as of press time. Now, some airport administrators, including Phuket, are coping with these ride-hailing apps and allowing them now to come into the airport. How it's going to operate in practice and the reaction of the traditional taxi and minibus drivers is yet to be seen. We now head to this story, which is a bit of a regional story from Khao English on their Facebook page. And Thailand's police officers from the Immigration Bureau, Narcotics Suppression Bureau, Bangkok Interpol and the Royal Thai Police travelled to Jakarta, Indonesia on September the 13th to participate in a press conference announcing the arrest of a major Indonesian drug dealers network. And they captured people in Freddy Patama's network with a cooperative operation by the Indonesian National Police, Thai National Police, Malaysian National Police and the United States Drug Enforcement Agency. And Thailand arrested 3 people, Malaysia nabbed 2, and Indonesia detained 40 people, with the number expected to rise to over 800. And currently authorities have recovered 20 tons of drugs and more than US $19 million in drug-related proceeds. And as they like to do here in Asia, they like to shame the suspects. This is even before they go to trial. And there they are in front of all the officials, this photo taken in Jakarta. Naming and shaming, as long as they're not a Thai senator. And that story from Indonesia, published on the Facebook page of Khao English. And we now go to the Pattaya news again, and Chonburi police apprehended a duo involved in 10 million baht wire theft incident near Pattaya. And these days, when I see the word wire theft, I think about online wire theft. No, this was actually wire. And 2 fugitive wire thieves were arrested on Wednesday in Chonburi after causing financial damages valued at over 10 million baht to the local government administration. And then the story goes back to a previous incident where some other people, including a Lao citizen, were involved in wire theft, which led to this particular apprehension on Wednesday. And this led to a follow-up operation, which led to the arrest of 2 Thai men yesterday, a 35 and a 31-year-old. They were arrested while walking down a road in Huai Yai. And seized from their residence were 40 kilograms of copper, nearly 100 metres of unspooled electric wires, and steel cutters. The 2 men confessed to the allegations, saying they'd committed the act not less than 50 times and earned around 20,000 baht per instance. When total, they earned nearly 1 million baht from these unlawful activities, and they admitted to using the proceeds for daily leisure, online gambling, and purchasing illicit substances. And the men were charged with conspiring to steal state property during night time, as distinct from conspiring to steal state property during daylight hours, with more than 2 people participating and using a vehicle for the convenience of committing a crime or transporting property. So the arrest is done, the charge is laid. All we need now do is recreate the crime. And so here we've got Chonburi police with the other 2 people apprehended, showing how they stole the copper wires. Well, in all seriousness, this is actually quite a problem in a lot of homes around Thailand where they steal the earth wire, some of them the actual original contractors who put the wires there in the first place, which makes a lot of the homes quite unsafe. A big thank you to our sponsor, and also an invitation if you'd like to have a look at my first beach house. Maybe you'd like to have a bit of a staycation if you live in the area, or if you're coming from overseas. Welcome you to Turtle Beach in Thai Mueang. If you'd like a pretty much deserted beach and a very quiet time in a brand new beach house, there's a link in the description. Well, the first half of the program was people behaving badly. Now to some, happier news. This reported by ThaiPBSWorld.com. Would-be PM Pita makes it into the Time 100 Next list this year. And Pita Limjareonrat, the leader of the Move Forward Party, who almost became Thailand's 30th Prime Minister, has been included on Time magazine's Time 100 Next list for 2023. And Pita is the only Thai listed by the US-based magazine among leaders whom they identify as shaping the future and defining the next generation of leadership. And according to Times' Charlie Campbell, who wrote the article, he said the only thing more stunning than Pita Limjareonrat's election victory was the radical agenda he ran on to achieve it. And it reports that the Harvard graduates' upstart Move Forward party secured 38% of the votes in Thailand's May 14 poll by promising to bridle the nation's armed forces and the revered royal institution, scrapping its controversial royal defamation law and ending military conscription. And then Mr. Campbell wrote, but the Byzantine nature of Thai democracy means Pita's path to power has been blocked by an unelected Senate and a flurry of legal challenges. So let's go to the front page of Time. Well, there's Pita Limjareonrat there, and we'll scroll down and we'll see the categories. And there's artists, phenoms, innovators, leaders, and advocates. Of course, Pita in the leaders category. And let's go to that page and we'll scroll down. Some of these people I recognise, many of them I don't. But as we get down a little bit further, we find the listing for Pita Limjareonrat. And the article just goes through some of those things that I just mentioned, those quotes from the writer, Charlie Campbell. Well, it's not quite the same as becoming Thailand's next Prime Minister, but at least Pita's efforts have been recognised by Time magazine. We go to this next article now from thebangkokpost.com, and it reports that the one student, one tablet to be revived. New Education Minister seeks to create equal opportunities and ease teachers' burdens. The story says the Minister of Education is preparing to revive a program first carried out by a previous Thai government a decade ago to provide all students and teachers nationwide with one tablet computer each to promote equal opportunity in education. And speaking at a meeting of ministry officials, the minister said the goal was to promote good learning with happiness. And Police General Permpun said he was still reviewing how much the program would cost. And it says the one student, one tablet program was first proposed by the government of the former PM Yingluck Shinawatra in 2011. Distribution of tablets to 860,000 Pratom 1, that's grade 1 students, began in mid-2012 with a budget of 1.7 billion baht. And a survey carried out by the National Statistical Office after the first year identified some problems, including faulty devices, antisocial behaviour, and deteriorating handwriting skills. Well, let me tell you, I was educated back in the 1960s. There were no tablets around then, and my handwriting was appalling then, and it remains appalling now. However, it says most executives and teachers say they were satisfied with the policy overall. The NSO survey reported that 99% of the classrooms that received the tablets used them. Teachers found the tablets especially effective in improving language skills, both English and Thai. So will we see young students once again with those free government-funded tablets here in Thailand? Let's go to car sales, Thailand being one of the major auto manufacturing countries in the region. Nation Thailand reporting world's 10 biggest car companies by sales in H1. Now, a lot of those traditional names we've seen in the top 10 sales in the world are changing quite rapidly at the moment. And China's new energy vehicle manufacturer, I think that should be electrical vehicle manufacturer, BYD, has joined the world's 10 biggest car companies by sales for the first time in the first half of 2023, surpassing Mercedes-Benz, BMW and Tesla. And according to its financial statement, the Shenzhen-listed BYD sold a record 1.25 million NEVs in the first 6 months, and that's up 94% year on year, allows them to grab the 10th place in the ranking. Other Chinese automakers also making strides in the first half of this year. Geely and Chang'an ranked 13th and 14th respectively, while Chery stood at 17th. And this according to data from research company Marklines. And here they are, the top 10. Number 1, Toyota. Number 2, Volkswagen. Then number 3, Hyundai Kia from South Korea. Number 4, Renault Nissan Mitsubishi. Number 5, Stellantis. We scroll down to General Motors, Ford and Honda in 6th, 7th and 8th place. And then down to Suzuki in 9th place. And there we are, number 10, BYD, Build Your Dreams. And then we see a photo of the brand new BYD Seal, a new electric sedan, and a young lady standing there with an evening dress, looking like she's waiting for her date to arrive. So I suspect we're going to be seeing more of these Chinese auto manufacturers making their way into the top 10 of car sales around the world, including some of these new EVs. There's a couple of them coming to Thailand in the next few months, one of them including that BYD Seal, stunning looking sedan, and also Great Wall Motors, GWM, are bringing out a new version of their Aura Cat, but it's a sports sedan version, and it's a whole different looking machine, very fast, and a stunning look inside and outside, quite distinctive. Anyway, it's quite interesting watching these new cars arriving in Thailand, and Thais seem to really like buying these new EVs. With thanks to 5 Star Marine, our sponsor, an invitation to check out my new beach house. Both you can do in the description below. And more than anything, I'd like to thank you for tuning in today, supporting the channel, and of course subscribing when you get the opportunity. And we'll see you over the weekend. We've got our live program tomorrow at 9 a.m. Thai time, and then on Sunday, Grumpy Old Men. Thanks for watching.